So, test. Gotta see how loud we have to talk.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Smile like that.
It's a regular smile.
Was it?
Yes.
It's crystal clear, we've been over years, struggle straight along the way, but having you by my side makes everything okay. We're watching video clips of all types of shits, laughing out loud, we really hate this crowd, and we don't know where to go, hopefully take it slow. Lots of hustler minds will reject the decline, our approach to life and that, well that's just fine. We wanna let others live because it's none of our business, so you press your chest upon our mess. There's so many minds, hey, I'd like to align. See beyond this place, we want a part of this race. We do what we can, you better tap out, man. You're about to pass out or get a break for the cloud. Why is it so hard out here? They made it so weird. Try to stay woke and humble and joke. It's fucking hard out here.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of It's Hard Out Here. I'm Joel Morales,
And I'm Karina Ayala.
and this is our podcast. We're out here struggling, like most folks, trying to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
And we sort of came to live by this mantra of sorts of, it's hard out here. But I don't know. It was your idea originally. So what was your thought process on that? How did it come to be? Speak of the genesis.
So, I guess, it originally started, with jujitsu, I think, because I was saying it kind of a lot, like, it's hard out here, like, learning this, trying to be good, the physical aspect of it. And I was also kind of I'm always depressed, but it was a little bit of a hard time, or a harder time, I think, mentally. And I kind of was listening to these songs and podcasts, and everyone's like, you've got to go for your dream. And if you really want to do it, you have to risk everything and, I don't know, just try for it. And I just find that so ridiculous because it's way too hard out here. It's way too risky. I don't want to do that, even though I don't want to do anything. And it just sort of kept going, it's just hard out here. But I thought, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to develop any kind of talent in multiple things. And then I'm going to talk about it and share about it. And then I was like, hey, you want to try this with me? And then you said yes, which was surprising for me.
Yeah. So it was originally it was a podcast idea, right? Like you had an idea for a podcast to do it this way and have that sort of theme of the struggle.
Yeah, I think it was more like a vlog, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was it was super this is what I'm trying to do, and these are all the different things I'm trying to do, so that way I can have a more, I don't know, free life, so I can do less stuff that I don't like and more stuff that I do like. But that's a pretty big risk, even thinking that something like this would help with that. But I was like, whatever, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I can have a community, see if maybe the things that I went through will help other people. But yeah, I really like this format. I like what we've turned it into.
Well, we're trying to turn it into
what we have.
It's a concept right now.
Thought would turn into.
Yeah. I mean, really, the key is just trying to make some freaking money from it, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
really the ultimate goal with anything. I don't know why people don't really focus on that too much. There's that's one of those things that's taboo. It's oh, you don't talk about the money. You don't talk, why not?
Yeah.
It's real. But anyways, maybe I have that wrong.
No, it's real because you're right.
Well, then maybe we have it wrong.
Possibly, but when I was saying, all these people are saying just to go for your dream. It's but how did they survive during that? Because I can't just give up what I'm doing.
Right.
I have to keep working, and I have to keep working a lot in order to maintain.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I've known you've been curious about those types of things, and so have I. Because same kind of, I suppose, approach to this. I had the same kind of approach. Just yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of somewhat motivational music or whatnot, and it's always just like you really gotta go all in, risk it all. You know, they lightly touch on like be willing to fail, get ready, you're gonna fail. It's like briefly just like brushed over. It's not really discussed in depth, and that always kind of like frustrated me a little bit. You know, people can tell you about their journey and like how they came to be. Like, you know, I just started studying this one subject a lot, and you know, and then I started going to school and I took classes, and then I met this person, and then we like collaborated and we did this and that, and then everything just like manifested, you know, because I just put in all the work. I'm like, okay, but really? Like, so where'd you get the money to go to school for? And are you paying that back still? Like, do you have any kids? Like, you know, is there anything else going on in your life that kind of prevented you from doing that? Where were you working? You know, like all those types of things. Like, what was your day-to-day routine like? What kind of stuff did you have to establish in your life in order to be able to do these things, you know, like what sort of discipline was involved? I mean, really a lot of it does come down to discipline, so
Oh yeah, exactly.
I would assume, right? But
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people would be like, well, y'all are just making excuses. You don't really have a passion. You're not really going to go for it. But I'm also like, I mean, I live in this society that it's like, money is my worry.
yeah. Well, it's funny because even like trying to get this podcast going, this is like our 5th or 6th attempt at a freaking first episode.
Yeah.
The first one we didn't have mics, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna scrap those. Like, you can
Yeah.
barely hear it. And it was a great idea, though. We're like, oh, we'll do it at the laundromat
Yeah,
while
which was super cute.
while we have downtime, and we could still do that from time to time, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to like film whenever we can, and that's
Yeah,
one
exactly.
of the times we can.
Right. So I thought that was a great idea, and then like, oh, the audio was pretty crappy, so it's like we're not using that. I'm gonna scrap it, and then.
Yeah.
What happened the times after that? Like the mics weren't hooking up to the app that we had, so then we had to find a proper app, and then we had to figure out how to even use the mics because there's like no instructions on how to use them anywhere.
No.
So Rode, I mean, come on, what?
I get that your manual is very simple and easy, and like so many people have had success with it, but I'm a dummy. And I did not get it.
Yeah, it was a huge learning curve, and I think that's one of the things I realized too. It's like with this whole endeavor, we're gonna have so many learning curves because neither of us are like tech savvy or whatever. The best that we have is I did video productions in high school, and you did some news station
Yeah, I
work,
was video
broadcasting.
editor in a news station way back when.
Exactly, and this was like over 10 years ago for both of us.
So like like even though we have like these skills, they're so not the same.
Yeah, everything's outdated, you know.
Yeah.
Like, even just using the video editing program that we got, you know, basic, didn't pay for anything because I was like, we got to be careful how much we spend on this, but you know, we are going to have to spend some money.
Yeah.
But
And then we recorded or we attempted to record, and we thought like a whole episode was happening, but nothing was going to.
oh, those are the best. Hasn't that happened like twice now?
Yes.
Where we thought it was recording, we did a whole freaking episode,
Yeah.
whole segment, and then it didn't record a damn thing.
Yeah, nothing. We're like,
And
that
we're
was
just like,
good. We did it.
This is so fitting for our entire subject matter.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. God dang. But anyways,
So we had some things to figure
so
out.
it's hard out here.
Like maybe we made it a little hard on ourselves because like I don't know. I feel like some people are gonna be so judgy and just be like, well, that was just some shit that you didn't figure it out.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. But that's what I'm talking about. Like these are things that people don't discuss, whether because they're embarrassed or because I don't know. I guess they're not worthwhile to other people. They're not considered worthwhile to discuss. I find it very worthwhile. Like I've always lived my life by trying to learn from others' mistakes, and like learn by watching other people do the things, you know. And so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I obviously haven't done because I'm just not that interested either. So which brings me to like the whole concept of like, yeah, you just got to follow your passion and follow your dreams, you know. And
What passion?
that's great. Yeah, that's great. If you have a passion, if you have a dream, I'm like, I didn't know what to do or what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was just like told, you got to go to school. You go to school, you get the school done, and then you get the job, and then that's it. You're done. Like you get the job. And nowadays, of course, you have to go to like higher education, like master's degrees, PhDs, and all that kind of stuff to make it like really worthwhile. At least within the realm of academia, I don't know, like trade schools and all that, they do just fine, you know, from what I can tell. They learn the skill, the trade, and then they can start their own business, whatever, work in the field for a little bit, like a few years, and then just build on that, which is great. You know, I'm not knocking it. I wish I had done something similar.
I know. I wish I had even known about that option. Well, I mean, like, I'm sure I could have figured it out on my own, but like, as like a high school kid or anything like that, maybe some guidance, you know, not just like the fucking go to college and pick which degree you want to get and figure out which career you want to go to.
Yeah, some real guidance, you know, and that's really no one's fault, unfortunately. Although, like, to us, for whatever reasons, it seems a bit more obvious. It's like, yeah, you really need to invest in a kid's, like, well-being, and, like, you have to, like, hey, how you doing? What kind of stuff do you like? Oh, you know, you might be able to make some money with that. Here's how you do it or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like within the school system, the idea of like success and being successful in a career is just so limited. You know, they're not very creative in what they could do, what the possibilities are, right?
Right.
That didn't become apparent until like, you know, I left school and was out in the world, and I'm like, oh, people are out here just like doing stuff just to do it and try it, and that's how they're making it, you know. They never went to school. It's like, that's crazy, but that's what it took, and it's a lot easier to do it at that age because you don't have like priorities or responsibilities necessarily. You just kind of have yourself, you know, and you can still live at your parents' house if that's you know, suiting to your situation, because I know people have really terrible relationships with their parents too, so that's another like restricting factor. But yeah, all these kinds of things just like kind of made the perfect soup, I guess you could say, of just like failure.
Okay, so like failure in what way? Of just like not doing what you want to do, or?
Well, yeah, I just kind of like not really. I felt like I was sort of like short-sighted, you know, because yeah, they didn't consider like, well, maybe you can go into professional skateboarding a different way and not necessarily be like a professional skater, but maybe you can be like a photographer. And like, dude, people were doing that already to begin with, you know, in skateboarding. They were like filming, taking photographs. Sorry, my cat is freaking out and it's driving me crazy. I don't understand.
I think she really reacts to us like talking.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
lot.
And we're not acknowledging her. Ziggy! Ziggy!
Hi, Ziggy.
Ziggy, please stop.
You can come on down here.
Ziggy. So you just have to like say her name, and then she's like, okay, yeah, now they're freaking acknowledging me. Ziggy.
And if her voice is ever like
She stopped.
louder than like normal talking, she's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, she was like freaking out, dude. That was not usual to what she normally does.
That was a loud one.
Yes.
Yeah, she is
kept
very
going.
vocal.
She kept going. Oh God. What were we talking about? I got so distracted. Shut up. Shut up.
We were talking about how like you could have
Skateboarding.
had different options, and it's, you know.
And what would have been suitable for my field, because I did exercise science in college. Oh, you could be like a trainer for skateboarders or like extreme athletes.
Oh my gosh,
like BMXers or rollerblading. I mean, rollerblading's not big anymore, but it used to be.
It's kind of there.
What
I
else
mean,
is there? Like
skating,
snowboarding, skiing, all the big ones, you know, that you see up on the X Games, motocross, all those things where people just like mess themselves up all the time.
That's where your degree could have gone.
Could have done that, yeah. Could have been like a trainer, be like, hey, go talk to like a company that was already established. Something like, you guys need a trainer or something, you know, something. Because a lot of that is all DIY, but I think most things are DIY, at least in the beginning, right? And now, like, skateboarding's so huge. If it was initiated into the Olympics, for crying out loud, you know, like that's
pretty cool.
a pretty big deal, you
Yeah.
know. It's like when it used to be like not a cool thing to do. And I still, when I was growing up, I still got a little bit of that, you know. It was gaining a lot of popularity for sure, but it was still kind of just like,
Not like it taken seriously.
Yeah,
like,
that's
this
like
is a sport.
yeah, that's like a loser thing to do, you know,
Yeah.
because you don't play sports, which
The
I never
slackers.
did. Yeah, because I was skateboarding.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but yeah. So I was like, well, what's my passion? I like skateboarding. Well, I'm never gonna make it as a professional skateboarder, so I guess I'm shit out of luck,
Yeah.
you know.
Or like exercising.
Yeah, I was like, I can work out, and then I was like, oh, I'll be a personal trainer. You know, it helps to be like involved in sports and maybe having worked at a gym before or done some sort of like competitive lifting, something, or like not participated in it, but like been involved somehow, because I was completely just like ignorant,
of
going
like that
into
environment.
Yeah, when I actually went, because I have a degree and that counts for a lot, but you still have to get like certified to be a trainer. So I got certified, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like not what I really expected. I had never really trained anybody. Like I had always been training myself, and I could, I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
But it's easy to train yourself, and
And then
training
you have to
other
deal
people.
with all these different types of people.
Yeah,
And then you dealing with people too.
Yeah, I'm not the best with people. Like, well, I'm okay with people. I just don't like to do it.
You're actually fantastic with people, but it's not something you like. It's not a passion.
That's because I have manners and I'm respectful and I know how to treat people. Like, I'm not gonna be a jerk or whatever.
You're just a decent human being.
Yeah, but like, I still don't want to do it like for like a job.
Yeah.
But this is different. Like, I'm willing, obviously. Like, I'm down to talk to people about their experiences because I've always wanted to know that stuff. Exactly. So
Hear their story.
having lack of passions and a lack of a dream, around my early 20s, I was just began to realize, I'm like, you know what I want to do? You know what my dream is? To do nothing. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like, why do I have to do anything at all? Like, why can't I just exist and
Can
be?
I just chill? Like, develop anything that I want to do on my own, whatever it is.
And not have to worry about how am I going to feed myself?
Yes.
How am I going to shelter myself? How am I going to get from places, from place to place? Like, all that stuff requires money. Like, well, how do I get money? Got to get some freaking random job that I really hate. And
But it's secure, and it's like, we should be so lucky that we have these jobs because they're so great.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that.
Yeah.
For sure. But here comes more excuses. See? Like,
Yes.
I've always been low energy too, like ever since I was a kid. I don't know what's wrong. I do my best to try to stay as healthy as possible, right? Yeah, okay, there was a long period of time there where I was drinking all the time, and maybe that had something to do with it. But even before that, like, I was still always tired.
Yeah. And now you're not drinking, and how tired?
I'm still tired. I'm still always tired. And I don't think the drinking was like a major part of it, but of course it didn't help. Also, I was depressed. I've always been depressed for as long as I can remember, and it hasn't always been like so severe to where I can't do anything. But like, I have to do it in bouts. Like, I'll go and do something I enjoy, like go out for a skate or go work out, and then I feel better for a little bit until I don't again, and then I don't want to do anything because I'm depressed. But I have to go to work, and then like I hate that, and then I come home and I don't have any motivation or drive to do anything. I just want to veg out.
Yeah.
And just relax. And then that's when I like practice my gratitude and appreciation type practices. I'm just like, well, I'm just like thankful I have what I do have, and like, I just want to chill. Like, I just want to relax now and just like enjoy being alive as much as I can. And then that also like starts to snowball into something negative, because then I try to squeeze in all these like activities during the weekend or whatever. It's like, oh, there's so much time for activities. And now, like one of my mantras is just like, well, the day's over.
Yeah.
Like, I wake up 2 hours late and I was like, oh, the day's over. Can't do anything.
Yeah, literally.
So
It's gone.
Yeah.
The time is
There's
gone.
not enough time for everything.
No, not at all. Just trying to maintain like friendships, or even your own just like leisure and pleasure, and just like, I want to go do this because it's fun, and then you don't get to make it to it because you're still busy like doing other things or chores or errands, just to have that little bit of time to try to get all these things done.
Yeah. Yeah, and it helps like engaging in substance use to get those like chores and errands done sometimes, So I was like, I want to make this a little fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's in the past now, I suppose.
Ooh, that was kind of interesting. You suppose?
I suppose. But for you, what's it been like?
For like my passions and stuff, oh my goodness. So I always have like these grand ideas of like, I'm gonna do this because like this is what I'm passionate about now, and then I never complete anything. Like, I've had so many dreams and like ideas of like, this is like something I like to do. I'm gonna be successful at this, especially if I give it time and attention and develop it. And then like people that have followed me or even been around in my life, like I've told them like, oh, I'm doing this now. And then, you know, I post about it or something. And then a couple months later, I don't ever talk about it at all. Like I won't even mention it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, that was embarrassing. Let's just move on to the next idea. So I've had plenty of those. And now I feel like jiu-jitsu is really going to stick. Like that's my passion. If I could just do that.
Sorry,
all the time.
let me ask you this. So why do you think you would start something and then stop? And then you're just like, well, let's try the next thing. Why do you think that is? Like, what would cause the stoppage?
Probably just time, like not giving it time to actually develop, not putting in more effort. Because like maybe I'd get tired or something else would happen or like I'd have to be dealing with things mentally or with family. And I just wouldn't continue. Or I felt like I didn't have support. I mean, for a long, long time, all those ideas were because I wasn't given the space to do it. And then now that I'm like on my own, so like I'm not really committing to it. And then I feel like, why did I even attempt that? I need to just move on. Like, that was a dumb idea. Why did I do that? Yeah.
That's harsh.
So, yeah, I pretty much just like beat myself up and I'm just like, that was terrible. Why'd you think that? You know, and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but also for you, I think like you said one thing that really stood out to me was that you didn't have the space for it, right? And even though now that you're out on your own, you still kind of don't have space because
Yeah, that's true.
you're not
I
on
have
your
a lot
own.
of things,
You're
yeah.
still not on your own, you
Yeah,
know?
no.
Yeah, so that,
I have responsibilities and like I'm a parent.
yeah, you still have to be there and do
Yeah.
the things for them too. Like, it's, yeah.
So the space is still like the space is different. Like I have a little bit, but definitely not enough to be like, well, I can do whatever I want and create this whole thing because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
But I can't because there's no space.
Yeah, but now we're trying because there's a little bit of space.
Yeah.
And it's a slow process.
Yeah.
This is going very slow.
Yeah.
You know?
What's it been? I mean, it's been a little time, and then hopefully this actually takes, like it actually records.
And if it doesn't, I mean, I know, hopefully this is recording right now. And
We'll just do it again, and we'll try again.
and we can't tell because, like, there's no indication on the phone
Oh, we were gonna
that
put
it's
a mirror
recording.
up.
Yeah, but I don't have a mirror. I mean, I could put the one on the wall back there, I guess. But then the chair might block it, and we can't see. We'd have
Yeah.
to get, like, an angle.
Oh, I have that mirror at the house.
Production.
Or at my apartment.
Oh, yeah, your mirror. I was like, what are we going to use? Why do you have this? Why do you
It's
need
gonna
it?
be great decoration.
I get it now. Yeah, once you move in next door, that'll be awesome.
It's gonna be super good.
But so then you said jiu-jitsu also is probably
Yeah.
going to stick now, like hard.
So I think it is because it's definitely a passion, and we've been doing it for over a year now.
Well, big time.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean,
not that long.
for me it is.
Okay, okay. That's a good, fair, okay.
For someone that's decided to like do things, you know, and like be, oh, thanks. So I would love to just do that. Like whenever I'm training and then I have to leave, I'm like, I don't want to leave. I don't want
Gross.
to go do what I'm doing.
Gross. Just kidding. That's
No,
cool.
not as cool.
No, that's glad. Huh?
Not the same for you.
No, definitely not.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm ready to go. It's hard to even get going sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mainly because it hurts. That's been the biggest thing for me.
That's true.
There's a YouTube video that I want us to watch later, and it's entitled "Jiu-Jitsu Saved My Life, but it destroyed my body."
Oh, perfect.
And I was like, awesome, yeah. And when I was hanging out with James yesterday,
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about that.
About the injuries.
Yeah, but how like it's a really great practice to have, you know, discipline and exercise and mental work and all that, but it destroys your body.
Yeah. I feel like we can prepare a little bit for it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we try to do our
we
best.
see so many people go through injury and recover and continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just have to like be very mindful of that. I think.
For sure, yeah, be super careful
Yeah. Which we'll talk about that.
who we roll with and stuff like that.
that
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, who you roll with really matters. Like watch them roll with someone else first.
Yeah.
And see how
Maybe
you
not
feel.
just take any like newcomers on that you're not aware of. That might be a good strategy, yeah. But then competition, oh gosh, because you want to compete more, you know. And like I do too. When the matches or whatever start rolling around though, like they're getting closer. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, why did I sign up for this, man? Like, what if I get hurt? Like, oh God. But no, it's good. I think it's a good good practice for us to have, you know, and something to add into our routine, and something that we can, another thing that we can do together. You know? If I think I had said this before, if you know, you weren't around, I might not have ever done it again. Like, who knows?
Really? After your injury?
No, not because of that. Just like, I don't know. I just feel like I tried it. You know, it's cool. I find it interesting, but that just wasn't enough for me to like actually go. I don't know.
Like make it a thing. Like
Yeah,
keep it.
and now, since you know, I'm a little bit older, trying it with you, realizing the limitations that age has brought, I definitely don't think I would stick it out and be like, oh, I don't know, man, this is dangerous, like, you know. But I knew going into it too. I remember telling you, like, yeah, we're gonna get hurt at some point. But it wasn't like real for me just yet. You know what I mean? Like, I knew about it. I knew that was possible. But now actually experience it, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is rough. Because like now I've always been tired, but now I'm like tired on a different level.
Yeah.
You know, because like the day after, like class isn't so bad, but after doing some live roles or something like that, or sparring, you know, it's just like, oh, geez.
It really does take a lot.
And then we get out of work so late, you know, it's hard to make the morning classes.
And I really loved those classes.
Yeah, they're great. They're perfect, but it's just timing. Ziggy.
You can come down here. Come on.
Yeah, it's just timing. You know, we can't get enough time to sleep to actually recover. And that's the thing I've always experienced, though. It's like, oh, rest is important. Rest is important, you know, especially being in like a health field, and exercise science. They're just like, oh, rest. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to freaking rest, but I have all these assignments to do. You know, I have deadlines to make, and then I'm trying to work out on top of it. And it's like, I'm not getting enough sleep here.
No, not at all.
I'm tired all the time. I'm drinking like 5-hour energy drinks and like Monster energy drinks and Red Bulls and having coffee and like, and then I go and get drunk because I just want to like let loose and forget all about it. And then I get too drunk. And it's like,
that's terrible.
It's
cycle.
crazy. I know. It was stressful. I mean,
it's hard
now I'm just complaining. Sure, okay, whatever. I get it.
Yeah, you brought this on yourself. Like,
yeah. It's like, actually, let's talk about that. Did I bring it on myself, or did society bring it on me?
Yes, it did. It did. But if you dream it, you can achieve it. If you believe.
I bullshit. I bullshit.
I don't know. There's tons of success stories out there.
I know. That's all I ever hear is nothing but success stories. So it must be true.
So just gotta live in a van and then figure out what your passion is.
Yeah, living in a van down by the river was so cool at one point in time here in Austin and like San Marcos. But now it's just like bum city. So it's like it's different. You gotta be careful. There's a lot of crazy people out there. You know.
Yeah.
You know, if I were to go homeless, like I don't know if I'd want to engage with anyone because they're crazy. I can barely deal with like regular people that are, you know, kind of still participating in the system. You know, I can imagine like the vagrants. Vagrants? Vagrants.
I think it's vagrant.
Vagrants? Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds very hard. So many hardness things.
Yeah, so we'll see where this goes and how we do and what comes of it. And hopefully we get to talk to lots of y'all out there too. I mean, we want anyone who's anyone to come on and just like hopefully be willing to discuss things with us. Not only
hear your story, we're curious.
Yeah, and like we don't want to keep it limited to just like the struggle, right? Of like why it's hard out here. I mean, we want to talk like relationships too, you know.
Oh my gosh,
part of it.
yes, please. Oh yeah, that's definitely a part of our history is like how we work through hard things in our relationships.
Yeah, that's part of it being hard out here. It's like how do you have like a successful, healthy relationship, you know? That's such a big role in people's existence and experiences, you know, because people are constantly like going through. You see it a lot of just like, I'm not dealing with guys anymore. I'm not dealing with girls anymore. You know, like fuck it or whatever. This is ridiculous. I'm not playing that game anymore. And then you see people just like kind of exploiting relationship dynamics also, you know, see a lot of that, or people just like wanting to slut it out, maybe not doing it in the most ethical way, you know,
Yeah.
that's an issue too, and like, well, there's all kinds of things.
So many things. But I love when people come to me about like their relationships because I'm like, let's talk. Like, I want to hear about it. I think that's one of my most favorite things. It's like talking to people about that relationship because I'm not going to be sugarcoating it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just like, trust me, you don't want to waste fucking 15 years. End it.
Yeah, because your experience, right? You were in a marriage that was very abusive, and you didn't even like realize it until later on. And
Yeah.
you
Well, I
were
did a lot of masking. I was definitely like, oh, this is fine. Oh, this is fine. Oh, this is fine.
Yeah, so like standard sort of stuff that
Oh, yeah,
happens,
for
right?
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it was definitely like textbook. Like,
Yeah.
anybody else is like, wow, it took you that long?
Well, of course, it's looking at it from the outside, you know, that's how it's always going to be perceived when you're experiencing it. And plus, you were younger too. Like,
Yeah.
how would you have even known, right? Like, I even engaged in like some abusive behaviors, you know, when I was dating in college, you know, and I'm realizing it later. I'm like, holy crap! Like, yeah, that's like, that's terrible. Like, it's a good thing that we split up, and like, I just went and dealt with my issues, you know.
And there's a lot of people that like are doing that or experiencing it, and it's normalized.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like, oh wow, y'all are doing. You know, it's hard, but you know, you'll get through it. Just talk about it.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's like now I think people are starting to talk more about like end it, walk away. It's not working. Whereas before it would be like, or not even that. Like after they acknowledge like it's not working out, then they're like, okay, but these are things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe this person needs to work on that, but that's their journey. Like I'm not going to tell them how to live their life, whatever. But when before I feel like it was a lot of like, oh well, it didn't work out because they never did this and they never did that. It was always like the other person's fault, and it was nothing that they had ever done to like make the relationship fail.
Yeah.
You know. So that's also a big issue.
So talk to us. Tell us things. Like, I love questions. I love just like
Yeah.
being way open about things.
And it's not like we're experts or anything, you know. It's just we're sort of well read on the matter, you know, and like informed, I would say. I don't know. I did a lot of like just leisure engagement in this field with like reading books and listening to podcasts. You know, podcasts are a great source of education, honestly, you know, especially for like self growth and development and things like
Yeah.
that, you know.
I love how many podcasts you actually listen to and share with me, because like it was never really something that I took an interest in, but I love listening to people, and I love like stories. I love drama, comedy. So it's like, I don't know why I hadn't been listening to these things already.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to try to do my best to consider all perspectives, you know. There are some things that I do hold like some sort of hierarchical ranking system to, but it's not a lot. Because for the most part, I think like we're all out here just like the same kind of pieces of shit, you know, just trying to figure it out. Like nobody really knows. It's kind of like, I think of my dad, because when I told him like, yeah, I'm looking for a therapist or whatever, and he's like, well, you know, I've never really thought about doing anything like that, because my dad says, you know, I've never really thought about doing anything like that because they're just people just like us, you know, what more do they know? And I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right, but also there is like fields that like study these things and like, you know, just try to pick up on patterns and behaviors, but you also have to be on your toes and make sure that this therapist, this human that you're also like sharing these like deep personal things with, isn't a psycho themselves, or like isn't like trying to manipulate you in any way, or like make sure they're going to therapy too, you know, like how, do they have their stuff like figured out, or not figured out, but are they working on their issues as well, you know? And then my dad was like, oh, like, do they do that? Do they go to therapy? And I'm like, yeah, I mean,
Heck
a
yeah,
good
they
one
do.
should,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I never considered that. I'm like, yeah, don't take anything by like
Face value.
face value, yeah, or like, I don't know, I'm trying to like tie this in to the concept of authority, you know, like don't give authority any more prestige than it like necessarily needs, you know, like respect it, acknowledge it, be like, okay, you have this position or whatever because of your background, cool, but then just leave it at that, you know, and like you can still, I don't know, not.
Critique it.
You can still
sort of,
critique it, thank
yeah.
you, you know, and like analyze it yourself. And is
Yeah.
it fitting for you? Do you feel comfortable in this? Are you picking up on things that might seem dangerous? Then, you know, say something, do something, or whatever. Act on it.
Yeah.
Don't just be like,
Don't
well,
settle. Don't let it just like.
Right.
This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but these are all things that I don't know, like where I've learned to do them or how I've even thought of them if I
Like
did
how?
on my own. You
Yeah.
know, like I have no idea where this shit came from, but it's here for some reason.
Yeah. Well, you're very big on like logic and reason.
Yeah,
So,
I try to be.
yeah, I think maybe that's
Super
sort of-
emotional too, and I have my mood swings and all that kind of stuff. You know,
I think that's a part of like your
I have-
learning and how you ingest things from the world because you process it very deeply. I think, or you spend time with it.
maybe that's it because I do like spending a lot of time alone, so I've had a lot of time just to like reflect and whatnot.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so hard for me to like really interact with people sometimes though when I'm like in a mood and I'm just like,
Oh yeah, I
get
know.
away." Sorry, anyways. But yeah, so how do you think you like came to realize all these like complex issues and like try to approach them with care? How do you think you came about doing all that?
I wonder. I think it might have been growing up in like a stressful family environment, and I was always like, I'm going to do it better than them. I mean, super cliche. So, and then like as I got a little older, there was sort of like reflecting on like, okay, well, how bad actually was that? And then like fairness became a very big deal to me, like seeing things as justified or like if it was okay for the person. Because in high school, in my younger years, I was I'm a pretty bad person. Like, I'm not good. But I did some really bad
All right.
things.
Yeah, you did some pretty terrible
I
things.
was a monster, like, really bad. So,
Not a monster. Oh my god. You weren't like physically hurting anybody or like, you know, I don't know, like maybe manipulative.
I was manipulative.
Manipulating people,
I
yeah.
was. And, like,
And like knowingly so. You know, that's what makes it so horrible. It's like you're intentionally doing it.
yeah. I think, especially being in that abusive marriage, I was like, this is karma. Like, I deserve this. Like, this is all the time.
Oh my gosh, that's like Christian guilt without being Christian.
I was like, it's the universe totally just like,
Oh,
look
the
at you.
Yeah, the universe. God dang
I just thought,
Gaia.
like, oh, okay, well, I've gotten enough of it. Now I get it. It should stop now. So,
Well, you don't get to determine that. Only the universe does.
I know, and it did.
And the Buddha, and the Krishna, and the
All of them
Yeshuas.
working together to be like, all right, she's okay now. We
Yeah.
can release her.
Sorry.
So, you're fine. And I think sort of like going back to school, because when I first started going to college, it was not for me. I was all about partying. I was all on my own. And it was just like, yeah, dude, it was terrible.
Dope.
I was all about like finding my husband or just like fooling around. Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't wait to be in a relationship. I think I was proposed to like 2 or 3 times, and I was
No
only
way.
like
You
21.
never told me that.
I have.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh
That
my
you were
gosh.
proposed to 2 or 3 times?
So not like.
I feel like I would remember that. Sorry.
So it's not. It's not as glamorous as like I'm presenting to you.
Doesn't matter. I
But
still-
my high school boyfriend, we were like, we're gonna get married. My college boyfriend, and we were like, we're gonna get married. So yeah, did all that, and that was dumb. But whenever I was out on my own, my friends were kind of good. They were mostly good. They were a great time, and like we did sort of like look out for each other. But then also they were pretty bad to me. Like they didn't like treat me fairly.
And you thought that was part of your karma too?
No.
Oh.
It wasn't until the relationship. But that's how, like, that was part of, like, learning. Like, I could see how other people were treating themselves and their friendships. And I was like, well, that's not cool. And so, like, that was sort of how I learned things. Because I never really, like, sought it out myself. But then when I went to college the second time, psychology was really big for me. Like, I was excited about learning all that stuff.
Everyone falls in love with psychology when they take like 101. They're just like, oh my god.
Dude, the 101 class
have
was so
everything.
great.
I'm depressed. I'm anxious. Am I schizophrenic?
It was so eye-opening. I was like, oh, we all suck. I didn't know jack. Like, that 101 class was amazing. And my teacher was super good too.
Intro to psychology or whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think maybe life was my teacher. Just sort of seeing people's relationships. And I was always very nosy. And so when people would tell me about things and I'd sort of like dissect it and try to realize like the fairness of things and like what was justified, I would just sort of develop my ideas from there.
Yeah. So that's pretty like typical stuff, right? I think that we all do that essentially.
Right. Experience.
Very fun. Yeah. Fundamentally, it's all like the same. You can like break it down to the same components. You know, it's like life, pretty much life.
Yeah. How'd you get here? I'm living.
Put a nice cap on it. Yeah. I love that one video though. It's like, excuse me, sir, how many genders are there?
I don't know. I just got here.
I don't know. I just got here. That guy.
He's my favorite.
a winner.
That's like the best video out there.
Yeah, he made it.
That's a good one.
He's done. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Success.
But so yeah, I mean, what else would we like discuss? Do you think talking about like relationships, life? I mean, our relationship, I think, is gonna be interesting
like
to some
2
folks.
to 3 episodes already.
Yeah, because I mean, we have a non-traditional, non-standard kind of situation going on, I don't know. But maybe it is more common than we realize.
I was just thinking it might be. I mean, as far as like me having kids, you not having kids, not ever wanting kids, not ever wanting to be married, how we're like dealing with all this, or like the beginning of a relationship, the way that started out. That's actually more common now these days, like the ethical non-monogamy or just being polyamorous in a way.
Yeah,
that is like blowing up.
It is. I don't know how successful it's been though.
Right.
And I hear like big names discussing it, like Dr. Drew, right? Because he has
a lot of
he interviews a lot of like
experience.
celebrities and people like that, that are just in entertainment or whatever, and they have names for themselves, and they're engaging in this. And Jason and Katie were like the number one couple that he was like, okay, maybe this does work for some people, and then
they didn't last.
Then they ended up not making it either. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And like I am just so curious about like how things happen to people, like why it didn't work.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how they even had time for all that, or Jason at least, because
I know,
it sounded
they're
like
so busy.
It sounded like he went a little too crazy with it, but I know he does so many different podcasts, he does so many different shows, and then he started picking up stand-up, and then like he's been skateboarding a lot more now, especially since he has a podcast with Tony Hawk, and like, dude, where did you find the time for all these people? Like, how to do all these things? And then he has kids too.
Does he really?
Yeah, he has. As far as I know, for sure, he has at least one daughter, but she's older now. She's like a teenager.
Okay.
She's like 18, I think. Maybe already graduated from high school or something.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So maybe she's not as like needy anymore, obviously, right? But
well, we don't know their custody situation and how much time he did spend.
They're
with him.
his kids, yeah. I mean, yeah. They weren't Katie's at all.
No, I mean
think.
like how much time he spent with him.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Well, because you said custody, and I was like, well, they're his.
Yeah. So I don't like what the other parent.
Right. Yeah. There has to be another one, obviously. maybe they. I'm not gonna say that. That's mean. Okay. Well, I love Jason. I mean, he's a crazy dude, but he's cool.
He's fun.
Jason Ellis.
Like I like
for
listening
those that don't know what
to
we're talking about.
Yeah, I like
Professional
listening to
skateboarder.
what they're talking about.
They're silly. He's wild, man. He's such a loose cannon. I'm like, dude. All right. Like, this is more up my alley. Like, this seems more like my people. Like, I want to try this now. I want to try this stuff. See if I can pull it off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I really love the concept of like just. I like talking about myself. Like whenever I meet people.
Who doesn't, man? I mean, a lot of people do. I think there's some that don't. But.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's really fun whenever someone's like, I hope I'm not sharing too much. I'm like, give it all. Like, I want to know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, what happened to you? I'm like, yeah. But it was chill. No worries. I'm good.
Yeah. I really like, when I first meet somebody, I Like for dating specifically, oh my gosh, I cannot stop talking about myself, and I've realized that I noticed that. I'm just like, wow, I just keep going and going and going. I need to stop. But I got better about it with my friends. Like I just let them talk about themselves and what they're experiencing. Yeah, and that seems to work out all right. Yeah, except for one. One of them never. I have to like dig it out of them.
Oh yeah.
They don't automatically do it. I'm just like, oh. And they are also one that is like asking everybody how they're doing, what are they up to, and then they just like sit and listen to. And I've noticed that. It's like, by the way, how like if we're all hanging out together and they haven't said a thing about themselves or like what they've been experiencing, I'm like, hey, so what's up? How are you doing? Like what's going on? You know? And everyone else always talks over them, and I'm just like, ah,
Yeah.
well, whatever.
Well,
I don't know if you know who I'm talking about by now. What were you saying?
I do. Well, you're just like championing for them. You know, you're making the moves. It's a great friend. You're noticing things. But yeah, relationships.
Friendships.
Yeah.
Parenting.
Work.
Work.
Hobbies.
Yeah.
Talents.
Talents.
Yeah.
What about talents?
There's a couple of them we could develop.
Oh. Okay. I don't know. I've never been a fan of talents. I don't like talents.
Well, I think
it's a weird word.
It is. But like all these people that have passion and they're just like, I'm going to go for my dreams, sometimes it's because they have a talent in something.
Oh. Yeah. Sure.
And it's just because they developed it. I'm sure you give something the time and the practice, then you're going to have it. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't, like, some people just can't do a thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, they can't get better at it, and that's terrifying. Just like, oh, man, like, you have been trying that really hard, and you've been putting in the work. And that's you know, that's another thing. Like, you have to realize, like, okay, this isn't for me. Just drop it. You're going to have to drop it. But if you really love it, then who cares? Just keep doing it, no matter what. Like, if you really do love it, then, yeah, go for it.
Especially if it's not harming anybody or harming yourself.
Yeah, like, are you still able to feed yourself? Are you still able to house yourself? Like, okay, cool. You know, basic necessities always need to be met first, because unless you are strong-minded enough that you can do without, you know, like one or the other. Like for like homelessness, you know, if you can do without like a home, like a structure or whatever, and kind of just wander or live out of your car or something, I don't know, you know, and just keep making good decisions for yourself and maintaining like a healthy mindset and healthy body, and like I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
And go for it. You know.
As long as you can take care of yourself. I mean, that's really all that matters.
Yeah. But once you start involving other people, then you better be careful.
Yeah. You know, don't mess with other people. Don't mess up yourself. Well, jiu-jitsu is going to be a huge thing for me to talk about. You know, I would love for us to break down some things on there. Whenever we were talking about therapy, I thought that'd be a fun episode to like discuss like therapy.
Okay. Yeah,
That might take some studying on my part.
Get to it.
Hot topics, current events.
I used to hate Hot Topic when it first opened up. I was like, oh man, what is this poser store?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same.
And eventually, as I got older, I was just like, I mean, I guess it's convenient. I have bought very few items from that place.
I think I only got like earrings from there.
Yeah, I never.
Like gauges.
What did I get? I can like list all the things I've ever bought from that place for myself, and it is literally, I don't think I've bought anything for myself from there, really. I got this shirt there, but it was a gift card. They gave me a gift card for Christmas.
Yeah.
Too
Hot Topic?
Yeah. And I've had family members like buy me things from Hot Topic because they're just like, oh yeah, this is so Joel, you know. By the way, I have different names. My family calls me Joel. Friends call me Joey, and sometimes people that I just meet, I say, hey, my name's Joel. They're like, okay, nice to meet you, Joel. So I also go by Joel, apparently. But that one I don't particularly like. Nothing against the Joels out there. I just don't like it. It's not me.
It's not your name.
Doesn't feel like me. Yeah. That's too biblical. Just kidding. That's exactly why my mom gave me this name.
I was going to say, wasn't it?
But yeah, Joel or Joel or Joey's fine too. You know, it's weird being called Joey as an adult.
Really?
I tried to stray away from that, especially when I moved out here. Yeah.
On the dating profile, though, that's how you introduced yourself. You were like,
Yeah,
Joey.
I've gone back and forth with it a lot, you know, just because it's not good. It's not good because I wanted to get away from Joey. I thought it sounded too immature. And I was like, well, I'll go with Joel out here. And then I started like panicking and hesitating when I'd introduce myself to people. And I wouldn't know which
What
name to
name?
go with. So they're just like,
Yeah.
so it's been like a constant back and forth in my head. And
Yeah.
on the dating apps, I've put Joey sometimes. And then other times I'll put Joel, but you know, of course, everyone's gonna read it as Joel. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. Nobody sees it as anything else.
Funny enough, though, actually, the Hispanics out here in Austin, they'll say Joel.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll go be like, hey, pick up online order or whatever if I go to a restaurant or something. And well, I guess I have to tell them my name first. There's been situations where I have not told them my name yet, and then they just read it off of like the receipt or whatever, the order, the name on the order, and I just be like, for Joel, and I'm like, yeah, that's weird that they go with Joel.
That's
too.
cool.
Some of the Hispanic people.
I kind of love that.
Hispanic descent or whatever. Yeah. Sorry, I always think of that.
Yeah.
I don't like to call myself Mexican because I'm not Mexican.
I know.
Yeah, I always think about that when the name issue comes up and how I like identify people. I'm like, no, yeah, the Hispanic person, like I don't know,
The Latin
white person. No, not Latin because you have to be from Latin America, right? I guess Hispanic you do as well, but Hispanic that term leans more towards like an ethnicity rather than like a nationality.
Oh, okay.
You know, because Mexico is a country, and then if you call yourself Mexican, it's like, oh, well, are you from freaking Mexico? No, you're not. Are you? You're from Texas.
Yeah.
You're an American.
Yeah.
I had this white woman one time I was working in the hospital. She, you know, probably in her 50s, let's say. Real sweet, of course, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was her daughter-in-law was the patient, and she was actually from like Guatemala or something like that. And so she had asked me, she was like, hey, Joel, what's your nationality? And I was like, I'm American. Like I took it very literal.
Yeah.
I knew what she meant,
Yes,
obviously,
of
but I'm gonna
course.
be a slight petty dick about it and just be like, I'm American, yeah. And then she was like, oh, well, I mean, you know, like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm
Texas?
from Texas. Like, I was born in El Paso. I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's just, I like to answer questions very directly. Also, part of me feels like, hey, there's a lesson here. You know, maybe they can learn. I'm not going to be a complete asshole about it. You know, I'm just like, just think about what you're actually saying, dude. Like, come on, you know. And then she's like, oh, but I mean, like your family, you know. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, as far as I know, you know, as furthest I can go back, and I'm like, I have a great grandfather from Spain, and the rest of my grandparents were from Mexico, as far as I know. That's about it. And we have one. I have one great grandmother that was like Cherokee, I believe. Yeah. And that's about it. And everyone else is from like Texas. From after that, you know.
Yep.
So yeah.
And like a few generations too, so it's like I'm really American.
Yeah, I'm like pretty freaking grounded here, dude. What's up? So one time someone called me a transplant just because I came from El Paso, Texas to Austin, Texas, and I was like, oh, transplant, huh? Wow, okay. I did take offense to that a little bit. I was like, I don't know, my family's been here for generations, dude. Like, we've been in San Antonio, I've been in Dallas, been in El Paso, like Arlington. Like
it's just
we're
Texas.
here. Yeah, we're here. Sorry. Well, my most recent ancestors are from
Invading your space.
Yeah. And they were like, their father was like from, I don't know, somewhere like Israel or something like that. And I'm like, oh, I'm the transplant, huh?
Wow.
Cool. So I hate all that stuff sometimes, man. Like, Oh, that's a whole other issue, though. I don't want to go down that road. Okay.
I
So.
was like, I might talk about some native Austins.
Hey, well, that person was a native Austin.
Oh, I bet they were.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You were born here, right? I can respect that, sure. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're a transplant. No, but like to the States, right?
Oh, they're gonna be like, I'm American.
Yeah,
I
like,
get it.
Yeah, me too. How about that? Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thunk it?
Why are you always trying to other me, dude?
I think that happens a lot to
Oh
people.
yeah, it's so.
We're naturally separatists.
Yeah, I know, and like I'm cool with it. I'm like, well, let's do it then. I think
I'm
everyone
alright
would
with
get
that.
along a lot better if we did that. Or the people that want to do that, like
Yeah.
let them go.
Yes.
Let them. Of course, we're gonna fight. Yeah, well, that's just how. That's how we're gonna. That's how we've always been. We're
That's
gonna fight
how
each
it's
other.
always been. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but you guys can be over there. You don't have to interact with us, and then we'll be over here. Like, whatever.
What's that one saying? Do no harm, take no shit. I like that one a
I
lot.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like,
Do no harm, take no shit. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to mess with you. Are you messing with me? All right, what's going on?
Like Gordon Ryan's tattoos. I mean,
Respect no one? What does it say?
no, no. It says fear no one, respect everyone.
No way.
Something like that. Yeah. Which I could live by that motto for sure, but I think it's just silly that he got it tattooed on him.
There's lots
But
of
I would
silly
never
tattoos.
talk shit to Gordon Ryan. Oh my god, that guy's a beast. He's so big and like
I will do it from the on the line.
strong and like well skilled in
Yeah.
like fighting.
Yeah. Super duper skilled. I mean, he was the king.
Was not anymore. What happened?
I mean, he's out of the game right now.
Did he? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Anyways, so, but yeah, here we go. This
So
is
many things.
our attempt at
We're going to try.
this thing that we're doing. Yeah, and hopefully
We're gonna find
we
out.
have some good talks, some good laughs, maybe some tears. I don't know. Maybe we can work through some stuff.
Maybe. Lots of embarrassing moments, though, for sure.
Many abodes, lots of humbles,
So much gratitude.
so many gratitudes forever. That's a story. I can't wait to tell that story. I guess we'll save it for another time.
Yeah. I don't even know what topic that's going to be.
We should have like a sign off.
Yeah. Is it going to be this?
I don't know. Duncan Trussell always says Hare Krishna, and I love that so much. I think that's so cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's not me.
But he's an actual like practitioner, I believe.
No, I don't do that.
That's Wayne's World. I don't know. I'm gonna have a sign off.
We'll work on it. Maybe we'll have one next time. We'll do the bygones.
Thanks, guys. Later.